On this week's episode, I've got Extermination, X-23, Deadpool Assassin, and Hunt for Wolverine Dead Ends. And on this week's Super Spotlight, Plastic Man. Strap yourselves in and grab your butts. Because here we go. Thank you for welcoming me back. I know it's been a little bit since our last encounter. Things are sometimes life gets in the way of things, So, what can you do? But things are kind of starting to mellow out, get back on track. School's back in session. The craziness that goes every so often. It just happens. So let's dive off into some comic books, huh? Yeah, let's do that. Let's start off this week with some Extermination issue number 2. So the X-Men have come together to talk about their next move against Ahab and the younger version of Cable that basically came back in time and killed himself. Suicide with time travel against your older self. It happens. It's the X-Men universe, what can you do? So, while all of them are in the X-Mansion doing their thing, the younger X-Men have gone outside to kind of talk about what they should do with this whole mess. And, Cyclops is feeling kind of bad because he was there when Bloodstorm was killed, and she was killed because he was too weak to do anything about it. Cyclops basically being the bitch. Like he is. And that's when the younger Cable attacks them and takes Angel. Then, of course, to make matters even better, Ahab attacks the mansion, coming after the rest of the young X-Men, and we find out that somehow he managed to turn Old Man Logan into one of his hounds. I know, right? Then, back at Cable's hideout, we see Angel strapped into this machine that is basically removing his cosmically powered wings. Yeah, it did. Ew. Gross. Cable just kind of sitting back and is like, you brought this on yourself. Wow. So, it kind of feels like this younger Cable has come back to kind of fix the timeline the way that Cable is supposed to be doing, but his older self wasn't doing, I guess, just kind of. But anyway, we'll have to just kind of see what happens after all is said and done. So let's move on to some X-23 issue number 3, which has been just in 3 series has been really good to start off with from my perspective anyway. I don't know about the rest of you. The rest of you who, if you aren't enjoying the X-23 storyline, you're just and so that's right, that's a lot of cuckoo, but it makes sense because the are part of this storyline. Yes, the cuckoos. So Laura is hot on the trail of Gabby after the have kidnapped her, but apparently when she catches up to the van, the have set her on the wrong path, and it's not the van that she's supposed to be chasing. So, blech. So she goes back to talk with Dr. Clark to get some answers about what they have been having her do. And somehow Gabby manages to activate her tracker. Laura then calls Angel to fly her to the warehouse where they have taken Gabby, and they seem to have plugged her into a machine that they hope will, transfer the dying consciousness of their sister into Gabby, I guess. But it doesn't seem like Laura may have gotten there in time. So, yeah, it seems like the whole thing that X-23 is going to right now is really just kind of Yeah, just seems to be getting worse. So, but hey, I'm really enjoying what they're doing with X-23 right now. She's off doing her own thing, and I'm just enjoying the hell out of it. So, I say ride the train. So, next up is Deadpool Assassin issue number 6. Right. Yeah. So, Deadpool's friend and Merc pal Weasel is dead, and Deadpool is hot on Threndy's trail after she took Weasel's wife. The plan is, of course, to drain the life out of Weasel's unborn child to give her child new life. And yeah, we're going with that. Because, I don't even know what the hell's going on, really. So, when Deadpool finds them, Threndy is trying to use her power to drain the life out of the unborn child and give it to her born child, who looks like some kind of nasty demon spawn kind of thing. It looks really, it looks like it looks like a goblin from Lord of the Rings. Really, like a little golem. That's yeah, like a little golem. Oh, my precious, yes, precious. Oh no. So Deadpool, of course, tries to talk her out of it, and that's when Threndy's old Assassin's Guild friend Bloodscream attacks Deadpool, and Threndy uses the opportunity to drain the life out of Weasel's unborn baby. Well, Deadpool ends up making the decision to stab Threndy's baby and stop the process. Threndy, of course, gets upset. She escapes with the baby, and Deadpool takes Weasel's wife home where she can grieve, and of course she doesn't want to see Deadpool anymore, and everything just kind of went for Deadpool. Yeah, typical Deadpool fashion. Things just when you think you're out, they pull me back in. I don't know what to tell you. So, but Deadpool Assassin has been really good. Only 6 issues in. I'm already just completely intrigued at where they're gonna go with the next arc. So, next up is Hunt for Wolverine Dead Ends. Now, this actually ends the Hunt for Wolverine series that I've been talking about for the last several episodes, really. And so Stark and Daredevil have been called to the X-Mansion to kind of talk about their findings with Kitty after their search for Wolverine, which, of course, the story turned up pretty much dead ends. Nobody ever really found Wolverine, but everybody found evidence that Wolverine is actually alive. So, of course, they're going over all of their findings. And, of course, in typical X-Men fashion, the mansion is attacked. Shock, I know, right? What? Huh? The X-Mansion gets attacked. I know, right? So, basically, these giant tungsten rods have been dropped from space, a la G.I. Joe Retaliation. And, because, yeah, this is the kind of thing that's been done before. So, stop it. And so Tony takes off with Storm and Firestorm to stop these tungsten rods from dropping onto the X-Mansion, which will basically incinerate the entire area of Central Park. Well, they managed to stop the rods, and one manages to get past Tony, and Kitty uses her phasing ability to phase the ground, and the rod goes through the ground, and she sends it straight into the Earth's core. Yay, everything is saved. Yay. So, after all of this, the real villain reveals herself, a woman named Persephone. And she is the woman who has been behind the entire thing. She's pulling Logan's strings. She stole the DNA files from Sinister. She created the zombies that Sabretooth's team had to fight. And she nearly killed Daredevil's team. And she even set the Serpent Society against Kitty's team in Madripoor. So she's been behind the whole frickin' thing. She warns Kitty not to mess with her, and reveals the bodies of humans with dormant X genes that she found, killed, and laid at Kitty's back door. So, Yeah, I know, right? Nothing says don't with me than some dead bodies. You know, that's just the way it is. Yeah. So everything is supposed to really ramp up when Return of Wolverine comes. I believe next week. I believe it is. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll get to find out exactly what's been going on with Wolverine. Hopefully we don't get a I hope for that. So all right, so let's start off our second super spotlight. Come on, come on. All right, it's a brand new segment. Give me some time to kind of perfect the whole thing before you just give me a okay. So on the second super spotlight, we're talking about Plastic Man, everybody's favorite stretchy Armstrongy guy. He was Stretch Armstrong before Stretch Armstrong was Stretch Armstrong. So Plastic Man first appeared in Police Comics issue number 1 in August of 1941. That's right. He was Stretch Armstrong before Stretch Armstrong was Stretch Armstrong, like I said. So chill. Plastic Man can stretch his body into any imaginable form. Ladies, right? Mm-hmm. So, Plastic Man had his own Saturday morning cartoon, for those of you who didn't know, called the Plastic Man Comedy Adventure Show, and it ran from 1979 to 1981. So, basically, it was a smash hit. Plastic Man was also a member of the Justice League during the Grant Morrison run, which really is one of the most famed Justice League runs ever, really. During the Obsidian Age story arc, which is an arc where the Justice League actually goes back in time to the Obsidian Age, I know, Plastic Man is frozen and then shattered into just pieces, thousands of pieces, and the JLA couldn't put him back together. So it's basically a Humpty Dumpty story without the king's horses. Anyway, he eventually did manage to reform himself, but then quit the JLA because his memory was all messed up and he just didn't. His head just wasn't on right. He's probably missing a few pieces. And sorry. All right, look there. See, there you go. No, come. Just can't get a laugh out of you. Just anyway. During the Blackest Night event, the Black Lantern actually rips out the heart of Plastic Man, and he gets taken to Star Labs for treatment, because, of course, Plastic Man wouldn't die after somebody ripped his heart out. Makes sense, right? Anyway, he's a superhero. Shh, calm down. In the New 52 story arc, in the New 52 storylines, he is offered a chance to join the Justice League International, but is then denied a spot, so much to sadness. Yeah, there's been a lot of sadness in Plastic Man's life, really, if you think about it. If you really just go back and read a bunch of the detailed stuff about Plastic Man, a lot of sadness. So, during the DC Rebirth, in Dark Days The Forge, Batman has him in some kind of containment unit. We still don't know why. And he tells Mr. Terrific that it's time to release him. And he plays an integral role in saving the universe from the dark multiverse. So yay for Plastic Man. He has since returned to the DCU and I believe has started his own series, or is going to be starting his own series. I'm not sure if that's released yet or not. But, yay for Plastic Man for becoming part of DC continuity again. So good on him. That is it for this week's episode, guys. It was a very small comic book week this week. Only the 4 issues. Next week we'll be back to our regularly scheduled longer broadcast, as I'll have more comic books to talk about. Yay! I know everybody is super excited about that. So, one of these days I would just like to get a laugh out of somebody. Is that too much to ask? Apparently. Okay, so until next week.